Hello guys and welcome back to another FPL video. My name is FPL Meerkat and today I've got my final team selection for game week 1. All the tinkering has been going on over the previous weeks, but I finally, I think, come to a final team. There are so many little decisions that I've had to make over the last few weeks, but yeah, I'm pretty settled, I think, on this team. A very big decision at the moment is to go with Salah or no Salah at the moment, just because Salah takes up so much of the budget. So I might propose two different scenarios, one with Salah, one without, but yeah, we'll see how it looks when we get into it. So I'm here on the FPL site to make the team from scratch. Starting off in goal, I'm always pretty much going for a 4.5 million goalkeeper. Add player, there we go. Flecken is in the team. I just think that he proposes the best way of getting points for a 4.5 million goalkeeper. I always like going as cheap as possible, and being Brentford's starting goalkeeper, the Raya transfer is pretty much finalised at this point. I think that Brentford are going to keep some clean sheets, concede some shots, so therefore Flecken is going to rack up those save points. And I am actually going to double up with Strakosha, who I believe is the backup goalkeeper, purely because I don't think I'm going to go for a Brentford triple up of different assets. So I think doubling up on the two goalkeepers in case Flecken is out or for some reason isn't first choice, I think Strakosha will be. So just having both of them, I think, gives me a little bit of security. So moving on to the first defender here, we're going to go for John Stones. Again, has been in many of my drafts. I would like a piece of that Man City defence. I think they will be keeping a lot of clean sheets. And yeah, Gvardiol's definitely entered my thoughts. Him coming in at 5 million was a massive surprise to me. I didn't think he'd come in at that cheap. Stones, I think, is the best in the Man City defence for minutes other than Ruben Diaz. And he just plays so much more advanced and has scored many a goal, either getting headers in the box, making runs from free kicks. We've seen many kinds of goals he can score, which I just really like as a player. So yeah, he goes into my team there. Up next, we have got Gabriel. I do think I need a Arsenal defender. When it comes to the defences, I think there are four key ones. Man City, Arsenal, Brighton, and Man United when it comes to the opening fixtures. But because I've gone with Flecken in goal, I'm going to have to drop one of these defences. I just like Flecken because I don't really like making goalkeeper transfers over any point in the season. The only time I will make transfers is obviously free hits and wildcards in the goalkeeper position. So I think just sticking with a goalkeeper that I like at the moment and sticking with them for as long as possible, I think is an optimal play. So yeah, Gabriel comes into the team. I just would like a Arsenal defender. The ownership is pretty high on them, and yeah, I do think they are a pretty solid defence. Gabriel's not really a kind of player I'd go for normally. He did actually, funnily enough, have the highest XG out of any defender, but yeah, he is not the kind of player I normally go for. I don't know how many attacking returns I'll be expecting from him, but I'm hoping I can get some bonus and clean sheets from him. And finally, in the defenders, we are going to go for a Stupinan. We are going to go for 3 at the back in this one. I'll let you find out what the formation is later on. But yeah, a Stupinan, very high ownership again. Great fixtures to start off with. Great attacking intent from a Stupinan. And pretty much nailed on at that left-back spot. Brighton don't really have anyone else that can play left-back. They've recently signed a defender, Igor, I believe is his name, who could play at left back. But yeah, I think Stupinan is pretty much nailed on to play in that position. And then we're going to fill out the rest of the defence with 2 4 million defenders. I think there are just so many options to go for in the 4 million defender spot that I think going with 2 of them is completely fine, because one of them will probably play, right? We're going to go for Bulldog. Bulldog's in pretty much all of my drafts. I think he's my favourite in terms of the 4 million defenders. Really good attacking intent, will likely be the starting right wing back for Sheffield United. And Kabore is going to be the other one. Issa Kabore, again, nailed on, well, more nailed on, I'd say, at the right wing back spot for Luton Town. So I'm going for the right wing backs of both of the promoted teams here, which, again, probably doesn't spell for many clean sheets, but the likelihood is I'm never really going to use them unless John Stones is for some reason out. And then I think Bulldog is a fine replacement on most game weeks. So yeah, I'm just saving the money here in this team. It'll be interesting to see. I could upgrade one of these defenders at the end. We'll get onto that in a bit. In the midfield, I unfortunately have not gone for Mohamed Salah. I think this will be the first season ever that I go into Game Week 1 not owning Salah. I just cannot find a nice way of getting him in that doesn't require too many sacrifices. There are just so many good players I can get in without Salah in the team. So Rashford is going into the team here. I think I prefer Rashford over Fernandes at the moment. I just think his goal threat is just too good at the moment, seeing him in preseason as well. Even if he is playing on the left or up front, his goal threat, I just think outweighs Bruno Fernandes. I think Bruno Fernandes, obviously, his assist threat is amazing. And I just have a horrible feeling that he's going to get a lot of pre-assists. He's going to assist the assister. I just don't know how many attacking returns he'll get in comparison to Rashford. And I don't think I want to double up on the Man United attack. They didn't seem to score too many goals last season, and I don't have much confidence about them scoring many more. So yeah, I think I do want a piece of the Man United attack, but I don't want to go for both of them. So Rashford is in. However, a team that I do want to focus on the double attack for is Arsenal. So we're going to go for Saka, and we're also going to go for Martinelli. Saka, I think, is just absolutely nailed on. Again, we all thought, why is he priced at 8.5 million? I think he should have been a bit more expensive than that. He could have been 9.5, and I probably would have considered him and probably put him in my team. Yeah, he just seems to be a fantastic asset for a fantastic Arsenal team that are going to score a lot of goals, I believe, this season. He seems to play every single minute. He's playing very advanced on that right wing spot. And yeah, on penalties as well, I think he will be high in the returns. And Martinelli as well. Martinelli, I just really, really like as a player. Again, he wasn't too great in the Community Shield, but I'm not really going to take away much from that. There were quite a few players who weren't very good in that game. I think he's just going to be in those attacking returns. Again, I think he's going to get the minutes. I say 0.5 on the likes of an Ødegaard. Again, this could probably be Ødegaard in the team, but I think Martinelli is the one I prefer. And yeah, slightly lower ownership as well. A little bit of a differential, I'd say. He's probably not part of the template team, but yeah, I do really like him as a pick. Then we're going to go for Eze. Eze, I think, is my favourite of the 6.5 million midfielders. Again, you might look at it and go, the fixtures are pretty tough. You know, he's playing Arsenal at home in game week 2. And then, yeah, so the game week 7 as well, Man United. But I think the rest of the fixtures are pretty good, and I just think Eze is going to have a stormer of a season. I really like him as a player. I think he's got that talismanic aspect which you really want from a player of that price. For a team that could potentially do really well, I think Crystal Palace would do pretty well this season. And I think Eze will just go to another level. And, you know, it's the kind of player that if I tell you right now that Crystal Palace have won a game 2-0, you immediately think that Eze has scored a goal. And the second midfielder that I'm going to go for might surprise you, considering how big I've been on Matoma. It's actually not going to be Matoma. It's going to be Mbeumo. We're going to go for Mbeumo purely because I just think, again, he's got that talismanic aspect about him. He does currently have a 75% chance dead leg. So if we get any kind of news that he is going to be out, that will be a simple swap to Matoma. Matoma, I think, is my third favourite of the 6.5 million midfielders. But yeah, Mbeumo, I just really like him. That talismanic aspect that I explained earlier, due to Tony not being in the side. Also on penalties due to that as well. Yeah, just really like his attacking output. And I think he will, again, catapult Brentford to a, certainly, maybe not a new level, but a higher level without Tony in the team. And the fixtures just look so, so good. The only really tough one there being that Newcastle game in 5 and Man United in 8. I'll explain to you why I'm going so heavily on the fixtures here in a second. Of course, going into the front line, Haaland. Again, I've tried to make drafts with Haaland. I've had quite a few drafts that have had I had Kane and Salah in them, but I think just going without Haaland is just too dangerous. Ownership at 86.7%. Have we ever seen an ownership that high? It's just a call that you have to be absolutely certain that you're going to get it right if you go against it. The ownership is just far too high. I think it's just too dangerous to go against it. So yeah, Haaland goes straight into the team. You don't need me to explain why he's such a good player. Watkins as well makes it into the team. I do really like Watkins as an asset. I know a lot of people have recently joined the hype on Watkins now with the injuries to Gabriel Jesus and to Nkunku. But yeah, I was on Watkins for quite a while. And yeah, I think these fixtures, again, just don't seem as bad as people are putting it on paper. Yet the Newcastle fixture is a bit tough. Obviously, that Liverpool fixture isn't ideal either. But everything else, that, Everton at home in game week 2, Burnley in 3, Palace at home in 5, it is much nicer fixtures than you think. And then obviously we get to this beautiful run here from 8 to 12, even to 14, you could say as well. Yeah, so Watkins goes in the team. He's so consistent. I think Aston Villa are going to have a fantastic season. If you haven't seen my short that I made predicting how the Premier League's going to look, I put Aston Villa very high up. I think they're going to have a great season. And now we come on to the final striker spot. Now you can see here, I can probably make a very good 3-5-2 here in terms of the formation. I do have 7.5 in the bank. So up until this point, I had Darwin Núñez in the team. This is because I just had a hunch that he was going to be the starting number 9 for Liverpool, that he was going to get regular minutes, he's going to score a lot of goals, and I would like a piece of the Liverpool attack if I can't get in Salah. A massive spanner was thrown into the works when he hasn't started the last 2 pre-season games. And every other attacker from Liverpool started that game, but Núñez didn't, which really concerned me because I was adamant that Gakpo would be moved into a number 8, he would be moved into the midfield, and Núñez would just be given the outright striker position. But yeah, that threw a big spanner in the works. So I haven't actually gone for Núñez in this one. I've gone for Jackson. Jackson's going to be in here because from what I needed in terms of rotation. So I'm going to throw up a little graphic here about the rotation that I was proposing. The rotation was basically rotating my 4 attackers that I would consider benching at some point, being Mbeumo, Eze, it was Núñez, and Watkins. And as you can see there, the ones I've highlighted in black, they would be the attacker that I'd be benching. And obviously now I'm getting rid of Núñez in this rotation. So as you can see here, I ideally need someone who I'm going to bench for game week 3, but every other game I'm going to want to play them in, essentially. And I've got highlighted there Watkins being benched against Newcastle. I don't really like benching Watkins against Newcastle, considering how great he was in the previous fixture against Newcastle, and I think he can really do some damage here. So, moving back to the team here, what I've decided to do is have a look through the other strikers to see who could potentially fit that rotation slot for Darwin Núñez. And yeah, Nicholas Jackson is who I fell upon. Obviously, Nkunku could have been this, but he is now injured. And I think Jackson will be pretty much nailed in that striker position. And as you can see here, the fixtures for Chelsea are just absolutely unreal. And I would probably play this guy way up until game week 8. The only fixture I'm concerned about is game week 1. I don't really like starting the season with Chilwell, but I could potentially move to him. So I'm a bit hesitant on spending that 0.5 million on a defender when the only reason I'm going to have the only rotation risk is Stones, and I'll only have Stones if we get early team news. This is the big caveat in terms of this team. If we get early team news about Man City, if we get team news that Julian Alvarez is starting, Jackson may very well become Alvarez. If Mbeumo is considered injured or out for game week 1, I will just bench Mbeumo and play Alvarez in the striker position. I could even potentially start Alvarez over Watkins. I'll be traveling to Fest tomorrow to join in the party and for game week 1. I hope some of you watching are going to be there as well in London. So I might have had a few drinks, and that's why I'm doing this video now, so that I lock in the team now and I don't make any drunk decisions while I'm there. But if we get team news that Alvarez is starting, I might very well take the punt on him. And of course, if we get news that Stones is not starting, I might either switch him to a different defender, probably Diaz will be the likely option there, maybe Gvardiol for all we know, or I will just swap him to Shaw. That is the other 5.5 million defender I have in my thinking. But yeah, that is how the team is looking. I'm just going to move over to DraftHound here. DraftHound, a really nice assistant manager tool. I've used them all throughout the preseason. I will be using them throughout the season as well. I'll leave a link to it down in the description. Really nice interface here that they've got. And yeah, so this is the team here on the right, it actually is telling me that Jackson is predicting more points than Watkins. I could potentially start Jackson over Watkins. I am a Liverpool fan myself, so I don't like starting players that play Liverpool. I can't really, especially considering I don't have any Liverpool players in this team. I don't think I can possibly play a player and root against my own team. I don't think I can do that. So yeah, Watkins is in the starting lineup there. A predicted points of 46.6, 64.6. The interesting thing here that I've recently noticed is they've updated their predicted points. And as you can see here, Rashford, Saka and Martinelli are all predicted more points than Haaland. I have considered captaining Saka over Haaland. Now, Haaland's ownership is just so high, it's very scary to even go away from him in terms of the captaincy. And to be fair, Haaland is probably going to be my captain for most of the first few game weeks, just because of how good the fixtures are for Man City. Sorry, I've just realised here that I've got Shaw in the team. No, that's supposed to be Stones. Stones there, yeah, there we go. That is slightly less predicted points there, but again, that's probably because of the expected minutes of Stones being a bit less. Yeah, so DraftHound's site here does tell me as well. I think if I go for midfielders, no, that's teams. If I go for midfielders and then search for the 6.5 million midfielders, that Mitoma for the first few game weeks is a better pick. The issue is that I have with Mitoma that I've recently thought about is, like I said about Crystal Palace, if I told you they won 2-0, you know, considering they can win 2-0, and I told you, if I told you they won 2-0, you would anticipate that Eze has scored one of the goals. We have seen on multiple occasions, if Brighton have won a game 5-0, there is a chance Mitoma isn't part of any of the goals. And I wouldn't be that surprised. The goals can come from so many different points in Brighton's attack, and there is so much rotation going on. I just don't know how comfortable I feel going into Game Week 1 with a Brighton attacker, which is weird given it's Luton at home, which is probably the best fix you can have on paper. But I'm just not sure. I just don't know where the goals are coming from that Brighton side. I think I need to wait and see from their team who are the good players. But then again, I can't really wait that long, can I? Because then the fixtures turn to be worse. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. But yeah, this is what the final team looks like. I will just confirm the transfers here and lay out the team properly. So we're going to have Flecken in goal, a back line of Stones, Stupinan and Gabriel. We're going to have Eze there, Martinelli and Buemo, Rashford and Saka gets the vice captaincy. And then we're going to swap Haaland for the captaincy and Watkins on the pitch. And yeah, that is how my team is probably going to look for Game Week 1. Again, I could make some changes given the early team news, given any injury news that we might get. I'm recording this on a Thursday morning. There might be some other changes that go on, but this is very likely going to be my starting team for Game Week 1. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. Please leave a like if you've enjoyed and get subscribed to the channel. I'm going to have weekly videos out as the season is going on. But yeah, this is going to be my final pre-season video. I hope you guys like the team. Let me know what your team is down in the comments below. Any changes you would make to this team. Also, how would you potentially get Salah into this team? Oh yeah, I said I'll probably make a Salah draft as well. I'll make a Salah draft and I'll throw it up on screen now, and you guys can decide whether you prefer this draft or the Salah draft. But yeah, it's going to have a loss of some players in some other positions. So I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next FPL video.